let's begin. So you believe, so you believe, what's your proposition? How did we get here?
Okay. So my position is that creation has been demonstrated to be true by a tremendous amount of scientific evidence in the 20th century. Evolution theory is not only not true but impossible.
Wait,
It
what's your
cannot be
prop?
true.
One second. So what's your proposition? How did we get here? So before we
We were
dismiss,
created by God.
so okay, so you believe that there is a God and God created us. Okay. And this God, is this God scientific? Can we measure? Can we test your God hypothesis? Can we communicate with this
Well,
God?
we have
Hmm.
sure Christians communicate with God is capable of communicating with people. He does so, but um,
How can we?
so
Yeah,
we have a creator. The evidence is that we are created,
that's not
and the 20th
evidence.
century discoveries of the biological discoveries of the 20th century demonstrate life is a product of creation,
Wait,
not
hold on.
natural,
Wait, wait,
not naturalistic processes
wait.
of life
Let me.
evolution.
I'm sorry. Wait, let me ask questions because I'm trying to figure out your proposition.
Well,
So
you asked me. I'm trying to tell you what my position is. That's all. That's my
uh
position.
no, I'm trying to understand your proposition. So what exactly are we debating? Because I'm trying to
Well, you
nail.
say evolution is true,
Wait,
and
let
I
me.
say creation is.
That no, that fine. No, let me ask questions. Look. I need to nail you down to a concrete proposition so that I can refute it or accept it or who knows. I mean, but I need to nail.
I thought I made
Mhm.
it clear already.
No,
But
no, no, no,
biological discoveries of
no,
the 20th century have
no, no, no,
demonstrated life
no,
was
no.
created, and
Listen, now I need to ask questions. I need to clarify your proposition. I'm try just answer my question. So you said God created us. That's fine. I need to understand: is this God scientific? Can we scientifically test this God? Can we test it?
uh,
Him, she, her, whatever. How?
you can't put God in a mayonnaise jar and say, "Look, see God." Of
No,
course
no, I
not.
didn't ask that.
No,
Just
but we have the evidence that He has done so. That from the properties of what He has created demonstrate
is
that
he
it was made by
is
a
oh,
supernatural
wait,
entity with
wait.
an intelligence, with an astonishingly high intelligence, capable of doing what nature cannot do. That's what
Okay,
the evidence shows.
1 second. So this God, you said, is supernatural.
Well, I thought we weren't talking about the existence of God. We were debating creation and evolution, right? Not the
What
existence of the
is
creator,
what is your
but
prop?
the evidence that the creator has created life, or whether or not evolution has created life. That's what we're debating, not with the existence of God.
Wait, so
Okay.
no, but I'm asking for your proposition. Your proposition is
I gave it. I
that
said
we
that
were
life was created. Right.
created by God, right?
Not the, my proposition is not God exists. It's life was created.
But the assumption of your proposition. I mean, life exists. We all
I'm not
agree. But
debating with you the existence of God. I'm debating with you whether life is a product of creation or evolution.
of a but
Okay.
when you say creation, you mean creation of God, right? Not creation like.
Yes, but we're not debating the existence of God. We're debating whether or not life shows that it was a product of creation or a product of evolution.
Okay, so
The existence of God is a separate debate for another day. This debate is about is life created, or did it evolve? Okay. That's what we're going to debate, not whether or not
so
God exists.
okay, let me
Okay?
understand. So your
Right.
proposition is life was created, could be, let's say, by aliens or by God or by.
And that's not my contention, but it's the evidence that life is
Okay,
created,
I
not
can.
whether
That's
who the
fine.
creator is.
I
Okay.
understand. I understand. So you're saying
All right.
life was created, as to say that it did not evolve. So
That's correct.
so your proposition is that Darwinistic evolution did not take place, especially not to create life on Earth. Rather, we were life was created without an evolutionary, certainly not a Darwinistic process. That's your proposition.
More, no, not a neo-Darwinian process either.
I fine, whatever. That's I don't know what that is, but that's fine. So okay,
Oh, you don't know?
that's not important. I don't want to get
You
no 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 no. I
well,
don't want to get no. I don't want to get sidetracked. I don't want to
I
get no
think
no
it's going to
no
be for you.
no 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 no.
Wait! Don't interrupt me constantly. Make a sentence. I think that's going to be a problem for you in this debate if
I'll
you
deal
don't
with
know
it.
what
It's my problem.
Darwinian
My
evolution
then
is
I'll if I have a
or
problem,
neo-Darwinian
then
evolution. I don't think.
then
Wait,
I'll
let me
lose.
look. Don't interrupt me. Just let me make this comment. Okay. All right. So I think that's going to demonstrates that you're not really prepared for a debate with someone like me.
Right. That's what
If
I
you
was
don't know what
afraid of.
Darwinian evolution is or neo-Darwinian evolution is, you probably don't know enough about this topic to be a strong debater in it, and you might want
Then
to rethink.
then I will lose, and I will become convinced of
Okay.
your
Okay.
right. You want to
Okay. All right. Let me go get my food from the microwave, and then we can debate all you
that
like. Okay.
sure
All right.
sure that would be terrific.
Mr. Slave, ask him about
Hmm.
how he explains human chromosome 2 fusion when he comes back. I'll help you out.
No. I don't even know what that is. It's not important.
Okay.
I don't have strategies to debate.
Oh,
I
what
just
are you gonna? Why are you debating like a theory that you don't know about?
he doesn't. Well, his theory. I don't think he has a theory. Yeah, I mean, it's the
Yeah, he
beginning
does.
of it.
He's a young Earth creationist. He has a theory that God created us within 6 to 10,000 years ago, as we are, and we all
No,
share common ancestry with
no,
cats.
no,
That's his
no.
theory.
I asked
Yes,
him.
that's what he believes.
No, I asked him specifically if God created, and he said we're not debating God. So I said, oh, so you mean we were created as opposed to we evolved? He said
Yeah,
yes. So
yeah. So, dude, listen.
I
You can
asked
you
him.
can not talk about. Dude,
I
you're
asked him.
confused. You
I
can you can leave out the God part,
I'm
right?
back.
Okay.
no, okay.
You can leave out the God part and just deny common ancestry and argue that way, and just like
So,
keep
I
God
don't.
what
outside.
convinces you that evolution is true? What do you think is the strong evidence that evolution is true? What has verified it for us scientifically?
Wait. So your proposition is we were created. So let's drop
Yes,
evolution.
and yours is that evolution is true. So
Wait.
that's why
We
I
need.
asked.
Wait. We
What
need.
is the
Wait.
evidence that life was
Wait.
has
Wait.
evolved? What
Wait.
convinces you of it?
You're changing the proposition.
No,
We
not
agreed.
changing the.
Yes, you are.
That's your proposition.
I don't. We
Okay,
don't
I
have.
don't think this debate's going to happen because what you're trying to do is to say this debate is only about whether or not I have evidence for creation. And that's not what the debate is about. The debate is about whether or not creation is true or evolution is true. Both our worldviews are on the table for discussion, not just mine, yours too.
Okay. So
Okay,
you're gonna.
so I
Okay.
asked the first question and I expect an answer.
That's fine. So then I'll be able to ask you what your evidence for
Sure,
creationism
we can ask each
is.
other.
That's
But
fine.
because I asked you a question, you know, don't
That's
run away
fine.
from it. All right,
That's fine.
you're arguing evolution is true, and I'm arguing creation is true,
That's
and so
fine.
both our views are on the table. Right,
That's fine.
right.
But you
So,
keep.
what is
That's fine. But you keep.
what science demonstrates that your view that evolution is true?
Yeah. Just before I answer that, you keep threatening me to stop the debate. So I'd rather you refrain from that. It makes me uncomfortable. So just without the threats.
No,
If you want to stop the
I
debate,
just see
that's
what you're
fine.
doing. That's all. You're trying to make
Just
it one-sided, and it's not going to be
no,
that way.
no,
That's all I'm
no,
saying.
no,
Okay?
no. I'm. Look, I'll do whatever it takes to have a nice, friendly debate with you. You try to convince me. I'll try to convince you. Very nice. I'll enjoy it. But I don't enjoy you keep threatening me to stop the debate. I'm not good enough. This is not a good topic. Look, I just
You
don't
can
like
say you're
threats.
good, not good enough.
Yes,
Okay.
You said I don't know.
All right.
Let me
Let me
finish.
help you
Let me
understand.
finish. Just let me finish. Look. These threats, you're just making me anxious. I'm not enjoying this feeling. Like you're getting my heart rate up. That's not why I'm here. I'm here to have a nice, friendly debate. You want to convince me? I'm open-minded. You want me to convince you? You're open-minded. That's nice. As long as we're friendly to each other. So let's keep it
Okay.
friendly, please.
All right.
Thank you.
I'm just pointing out. I didn't say you're not good enough.
Okay.
I've debated this subject for 19 years with people, lots of people, including PhDs. Okay,
I appreciate
university
that.
geneticists.
I
Okay,
appreciate it, but
I'm just making an observation. Okay,
I
that if you
appreciate
don't know what neo-Darwinian evolution is, it may be true that you're not prepared for this. Okay,
that's
that's
ad
all. Okay, but if
hominem.
you want,
That's a
no,
logical.
it's
That's a
not an
lot.
ad hominem. It's an observation, sir. Okay,
You
but if
have
you
to let
but
That's not
forget
at
about
home.
that.
you have
That's
to
all I
let
said.
me look. You have to let me reply. Like you finish a sentence, let me reply. So you made an ad hominem reference. You
No,
referenced me. Yes, you
I
did.
didn't make an
That's
ad
not ad
hominem. No,
hominem. That's not
Okay,
ad
no, it
hominem.
wasn't meant as
Lamb
an
of
insult,
Jesus,
sir.
please stay out of it. Look, I
It
would
wasn't meant
rather
as an insult.
hold on. I would rather you not reference me. Just don't talk about me. Right? You're trying to convince me. You want to make me a believer in your
No,
faith.
I'm
That's
not.
fantastic.
I'm
I'm
not.
open-minded. Just don't reference me. I'm not important. I'm here to be convinced, not to be told that I'm not good enough, that I don't
Oh,
know
too
enough.
much meta. Too much
What?
meta. There's just too much meta.
So stop. So
This is
don't
too much,
reference me.
man.
So just
Just don't-
why not answer the question I asked? You know, I just asked, what is the evidence that shows you that evolution is true?
Um, I mean, I would say there's so much. I wouldn't know where to begin.
That's not an
Mm.
answer.
Well, you
That's
got to
not.
begin
Okay,
with
so
something, right?
let's start with the fact that all life on Earth seems to share the same DNA.
What do you mean by share the same DNA?
Excuse me?
What do you mean by shares the same DNA?
The very fact that all life on Earth has a DNA, like all
Oh,
life, even
okay.
even viruses
Okay.
either have RNA or DNA.
Hmm.
I mean, it looks like they all everything
Okay.
is it looks like everything came from something very similar. So it looks like we all have a single ancestor or something like that. That's what it looks like.
So DNA, have all DNA. Now, if God decided, I'm going to make all these life forms, and he decided that he was going to make an information package that defines how life is, then it stands to reason that each organism, whatever kind it is, would have its own information package that defines how it's created, how it's made, right? The features of it, right? So you see, the fact that living things, every kind of living thing has DNA, isn't evidence specifically for evolution because it fits into the creation model just perfectly. Fits my worldview
Yeah.
just nicely,
But it
right?
fits evolution better.
One
I mean,
second,
God
Lamb,
could have
please.
I
created
don't
us.
see
Lamb,
that
one second. No, no, please. Let's
as
make it one
something.
on one. I don't
Okay,
want
well, I
two
can
on
explain
one.
it.
Lamb, please, one on
Yeah, but
one.
you're just like don't know what you're talking about. That's fine.
Lamb, no ad hominem, no comments. Please don't hurt anyone's feelings. I'm not here for that.
That's not at home. But go
Just
ahead.
don't look. I don't talk about me, please. Leave me out of it. I'm trying to have a nice, friendly
Okay,
debate.
fine. Then go ahead. But it's just not at home. Go ahead.
Yeah, stop referencing me. Stop referencing me, please. Anyway, so let me ask you a question now, as you promised me I might be able to ask you the question. So, what is your evidence for creationism? What's your best shot at convincing me
I
that?
think yeah, I think the existence of DNA is one of the most profound evidences of creation because we know today that DNA is a four-dimensional package of prescriptive functional information that operates with prog- uh, p- um, algorithmic information processes, and it possesses linguistics characteristics. So my point is this: that prescriptive functional information that defines how to assemble an organism and operate it, algorithms, information search and repair and replace processes that operate like a computer software, and linguistics. These three properties can only be produced by an intelligence They can't be produced by undirected, unintelligent material processes like molecules bumping around or interacting with each other. So therefore, life is in fact empirical. It's empirical that life was designed because everything is designed by a package of prescriptive, functional, algorithmic, linguistic information. I think this conclusively shows, without any doubt, hands down, door shut, game is over. Life was created.
Hmm. So you're saying,
So if I'm wrong, what you would
Mhm.
have to be able to do is show me that prescriptive functional information and algorithms can be produced by unintelligent, mindless, undirected, natural processes. That's
Mhm.
the refuter you need.
Mhm. I mean, but you're saying that it's impossible for life, for DNA to have evolved naturally?
Right, because it is a package of prescriptive functional information and algorithms, and those things come only from intelligence. So the existence of DNA demonstrates that DNA was designed by an intelligence of an uber intelligence, a supreme intelligence, one whose technology and knowledge is way outside of our box. Man
Uh,
can't even approach the intelligence of the creator.
Wait, but you're saying I didn't understand, and maybe you answered and I didn't catch it. Why do you say why can it not be natural? I mean, right? We
Because
imagine. Let me just offer this. So when we imagine a mindless evolutionary process, Darwinistic process, we imagine a self-replicating. Right in the beginning, there was a self-replicating molecule, probably like RNA or maybe even DNA. So some very simple molecule, just by sheer coincidence, came into existence that was able to self-replicate. Let's imagine such a molecule that was able to do that. So once this molecule is able to self-replicate, well, it starts self-replicating. Sooner or later, it fills up the entire ocean. And now, and all these molecules are self-replicating, but because of errors in the self-replicating process, so there are mutations. So by far, most mutations are of negative consequences, such as the molecule cannot self-replicate or self-replicates to a worse type of self-replication. But some variations, some of these mutations would have some benefits so that this next generation of mutated self-replicating molecule would be just a little bit more efficient at self-replication over its ancestors. And so you can see slowly over many generations that we end up being here as the humans that we are. I mean, that's how I imagine this mindless
Mhm.
self-replication, this mindless Darwinistic process. So I don't see why you would rule out. I mean, I don't have a problem with a designer, with a creator. That is a good theory. It's an alternative theory. It's the older theory. But once Darwin came up with his theory, it's a natural theory. We don't need an intelligence, and we still get humans running around, and in the tree of life. It's at least as viable as the creator theory. So, but why
Excuse
do
me.
you rule it out?
Okay, so what you said so far is you've acknowledged that the majority of mutations are destructive, they're negative, and that's true.
Mm-hmm.
So then you're telling me that the rare beneficial one somehow overcomes all the negative ones that build up in the DNA. That's like telling me you're going to make it to the top of that mountain by climbing 10,000 steps backwards and one step forward. It's a nonsensical idea. The idea that the occasional beneficial mutation can undo all the damage caused by the, the building up of all the numerous mutations that cause damage to the genetic information and weakness and deformity and death in the organism is a preposterous idea.
Wait, hold on.
Secondly, the idea that mutation, that natural processes is going to create DNA from scratch in the nature is not tenable possession because uh, it, it was very difficult for scientists to discover that it is possible for ribose to be produced by natural processes. But when it is, it's produced in minuscule amounts by a lot of stuff. In other words, it's super duper inefficient. It'd be like saying, I have an engine here, a gasoline engine, and I want to make the car go down the block to the street. But this car, it will take 20,000 gallons of gasoline to go down the block. That's how incredibly inefficient it is. Right.
Right.
So right. So the same is true of ribose in nature.
Mhm.
It was hard to find a mechanism for the production of ribose. When they did, they discovered you'd have to have an enormous amount of chemical interactions to happen to produce the most absolutely minuscule amount of ribose. So since that's true, then what you're trying to do is when ribose is created in this minuscule amount after all this junk has been trying to, or not trying, there's no intentionality involved, I understand, but it happens miraculously. Boom, wow, we got this minuscule amount of ribose that occurred naturally. To say that little tiny bit of ribose that happened to come about, it didn't degrade real quick like in the environment, and oh well, it's all gone now. But somehow it was the lucky ribose, the lucky molecule or two of ribose. And now other miraculous processes are going to latch onto that and start building DNA. That's like appealing to the most astonishing miracles. That's like saying, yeah, I've got a rifle that can shoot a bullet so fast that it'll pass all the way through the atmosphere of the Earth, all the way past Jupiter and past Pluto. It'll go through the whole solar system. And I'm going to put a blindfold on and I'm just going to wave that rifle around in there and I'm going to pull the trigger. And I'm going to get lucky. I'm going to hit Pluto. Watch.
That's wrong.
Lamb,
Like, you're
Lamb,
assuming that
please, Lamb,
rivals.
Lamb, please stay
I'm
out of it.
muted.
Lamb, it's one on
I'm going to
one.
mute him.
Lamb, yeah, thank
Yeah,
you.
I muted him.
Thank you so much.
Right. So that's like believing in the most unsurmountable odds. It's not a believable scenario. This is like believing in the greatest. It's the evolutionist that has the greatest miracles of all, not the creationist, the evolutionist to believe such miracles. Okay, but you haven't given an account for the genetic information. DNA is a medium, just like a book is a medium, and it's encoded with information. You read the book, the symbols are arranged so they represent things, words, ideas. Right? DNA is the same thing. It's a chemical symbol: adenine, guanine, thymine, cytosine, and they're arranged in codons, right, with introns and exons, right. And so it's a digital code system that produces information, right. How is it plausible to believe that digital information arises by undirected processes? Isn't it true that information always arises from intelligence?
Um, One second. Your question at the very last is an interesting question, but I'm just okay. So first of all, it sounded like you are willing to accept the alternative. It's just that you're saying it's inefficient. So you're saying Darwinism sounds inefficient relative to a creator just creating everyone at
I'd say
once.
it's beyond the principle of parsimony, right? It exceeds the bounds of that just by orders of magnitude, right? If something seems on its face value to be a most convoluted or complex explanation for something, then we should deem it's probably not the correct answer, right? That's called parsimony,
I
or the
mean,
Occam's razor, right? So this idea that this little ribosome
No,
ribose sugar molecule just happens to have been latched onto right away by some other miraculous processes. Now we're going to
Nephilim,
start getting DA.
Mr.
It's just
Nephilim.
preposterous, is what
Wait,
I'm saying.
I understand, but maybe try to say shorter sentences because you go on monologues and
Oh, wait, you were on. I didn't interrupt you for like a minute and a half straight, two
yeah, yeah.
minutes. I didn't interrupt
No,
you.
I appreciate that.
Okay. Oh, okay. All right.
I'm not.
Well, I only intended to be on the mic for 30 seconds, and you're
That's
complaining
fine.
already.
No, I'm just offering that we make just use shorter sentences. You can interrupt me anytime, always, and I appreciate
Well,
if I.
you just interrupted me. Could you just let me finish? I didn't intend to be much longer. Right. So, but as for the argument for information, information comes only from intelligence, and DNA is digitally encoded information.
But I
So,
wasn't.
isn't it? My question was, isn't it true that information arises only from intelligence?
Wait a minute. You went on a very long monologue at the end of which you ask. s-
Well,
uh,
take your time responding to what I said.
Yeah, but so I was beginning to respond, and then you interrupted me with another long monologue, and I get lost with.
No,
I
no,
just get
no.
lost.
Just,
I,
just
Mhm.
answer me, please. I don't
I
need all the meta. Just take a minute or two on the mic and respond.
I can't. I mean, you said so. Okay, but look, I made a comment. So my comment was, or I just noticed that you used the word inefficient. So you claim before you said it's impossible, hands down, door shut for Darwinistic evolution, a mindless Darwinistic evolution to have taken place. But this time in your monologue, you use the word inefficient, I guess, compared to aliens creating us or God creating us. So, which is it? So, is it inefficient or is it impossible? Just
Excuse me. Well, I say it's impossible, but the mechanism you cite for the evolution of DNA is it's too inefficient to be considered plausible. There's no reason to believe such a magical scenario. Like I said, it's like pointing a rifle that can shoot a bullet so fast it goes all the way through the solar system, and waving it around blindfolded and saying, "I'm about to hit Jupiter when I pull the trigger." It's not worth believing.
okay. Okay. So,
It's so
what's it?
miraculous.
Hold on. Let me try. Okay, I will now go through my previous monologue slowly, step by step, and you stop me at any time that you think I am making such an improbable claim. You let me know anytime I make any improbable claim. So, the first step, a self-replicating molecule came into existence just by sheer coincidence. Is that improbable?
Yes,
It is.
yes, because it's the backbone of that molecule is ribose,
I don't know what
a
that
sugar
is.
molecule called ribose.
I w-
Right,
I
and ribose is produced in the most minuscule amounts by natural
well,
processes.
we don't
It
know.
is
I don't know. We don't know, and what that. I certainly don't know what that molecule entails. But from what I understand, it is the very nature of RNA and DNA to self-replicate. It's just in different temperatures. DNA and RNA, a single strand becomes two, and then these two split. It's just a matter of temperature that they come together and split apart. So self-replication seems to be the very nature of the beasts of DNA and RNA. So basically any strand of RNA and DNA that formed in nature, which is also pretty much, I mean, we found nucleotides like everywhere in
fine. We find what?
asteroids.
We find
Nucleo,
what? No, no, no.
not nucleic, acidic nucleic acids. Sorry, nucleic
Yeah,
acids.
okay,
So we
right.
found nucleic acids. So the building blocks, nucleic acids, as their name suggests, they are the acids that make up the nucleotide, the DNA and the RNA molecule. So the
Mhm.
building blocks are available basically all over the, I would say, the universe. Apparently, we found them in asteroids. So,
Uh-huh.
so for them now to come together, to be put together just by sheer coincidence, right? You would agree that sometimes an an RNA, a short RNA or DNA molecule, could combine just by sheer coincidence in nature. Would you accept that, or is that improbable to such an impossible degree? How would you classify
Right.
that?
We're talking about getting the RNA. You have to have the
Just
ribose is the backbone of that molecule.
no,
Okay,
no.
the
Wait.
sugar. And then what I'm telling you is
Okay,
that,
okay. Yeah,
that the odds that you're going to get a ribose molecule, the sugar backbone of the molecule, and then other miraculous events like nucleotides binding along it is before it degrades into the environment, turns back into nothing.
hmm
And then, of course, not only while that's happening, you're not only getting the nucleotides bond to it, but they're in the right order so that they represent something functional or meaningful. Those are three levels of implausibility that are just the order of magnitude of these implausibilities is just
Okay.
enormous,
All right.
right? So
What is?
I'd say it's sheer
That's fine.
magic
That's fine.
in an enormous level of faith that's not supportable by science has to be employed in order to believe this magical scenario.
Okay, okay. That's you're using a lot of adjectives, but hold on. So, how many? I'm just not familiar with organic chemistry. So, how many, let's say, atoms are involved in the simplest RNA strand? Let's say a four letter RNA strand. How many atoms would you say make it up? Are you there?
Okay, thousands, many thousands likely. I have no idea how many.
Let's
I
look
don't
it up.
see that how that matters.
Wait, what?
What I'm
You
pointing
don't
at,
see how that matters? That is, what do you
no,
mean?
no, because I'm talking about the natural, the likelihood that a ribose molecule is going to hang around in the environment without degrading, coming apart, decay away into nothing, before any other magical processes like nucleotides arranging to a bonding to it in a particular order so that it represents something functional. And then still that hangs around in the environment without being destroyed. While other things come into being that are able to use it is another miracle on top of that. And it needs an environment that protects it from the natural environment that keeps it from degrading and coming apart and really quick like and falling apart in a matter of days, hours, or a couple of weeks. And yeah, that's another miracle.
But how
It's
many? Okay, okay,
miracle
okay, okay.
stacked on top of miracle on top of miracle on top of miracle. And I don't
Mhm.
see that as a plausible thing to believe. I don't see how you could either, unless you just believe it because you need to, not because it's rational to do so.
Okay. Again, you're referencing me. Please refrain from that. So, and please refrain from using miracle and miracle and miracle. I
No,
don't even
I'll
know.
debate as I need to. It is miraculous, and I will use the word miraculous to describe it.
Then define it. What is the definition of miraculous?
Well, I'm saying if you don't know what I mean is the odds of it occurring are so outrageous and norming. The odds that it could
I
occur
see. I
are
see. I
so
see.
outrageously not in favor with
Yes,
reality. Okay?
that's fine.
It's like
But
one in billions, right? The odds that we, and then the next step is one in billions, and then one in billions, and then one in billions. It's not plausible. It's one miracle relies upon the another one, upon another one, upon another one. That's not scientific way to think about things. Science would have us believe that something is plausible because we see that it's capable of happening. There's a reasonable expectation that it can happen. There's no reasonable expectation that this could ever happen. So it's not scientific to believe it. It's religious, not scientific. It's based on faith, not on knowledge. of anything in science that occurs
Okay.
out there in
Look,
nature and
look.
chemistry.
The question is, look. So mm, let's assume that in the beginning, right, Earth was a primordial soup, as they call it. It was right just after it cooled down, just after the crust cooled down. Um, Earth was warmish, warm, and there were apparently from asteroids and stuff. There were nucleic acids available to create to create um, an RNA strand. Just the building blocks were available. So if God wanted to create the first self-replicating molecule, he could have used these nucleic acids. So let's assume. Well, I mean that's pretty. That's like standard, the standard assumption or the standard knowledge that we have. Now, Earth is huge, and if we assume that these conditions were present all over the planet in the entire, original oceans, then we're talking about trillions and trillions and trillions of these molecules running around, bumping against each other. And sometimes you have sunlight, some with UV, like right, originally you had UV, ultraviolet radiation, because there was no oxygen to block it, and you had lightning, and so sometimes these molecules would connect in different formations. And this would happen trillions upon trillions upon trillions of times.
I
So,
don't see that. No, I don't. I don't
wait,
see that as happening trillions upon trillions upon trillions of time.
in the
And for any
ocean?
example of time that it did happen, as I pointed out, molecules, compound molecules break down naturally in the environment very quickly into simple molecules. That just happens constantly. So the again, for any example of some compound molecule like this arranging itself, coming into being in the ocean, it doesn't matter to me how many times it happens for each occurrence. It is implausible that it's going to stick around without decaying into nothing, into its constituent components, long before any system or other biolog and any inkling of a biological system is going to arise that can protect it from the environment and utilize it for something.
Wait a minute,
Much
but
less, I mean, and that's just a preposterous idea. But you
wait,
take a
hold
sugar
on.
ribose molecule and you leave it, you throw it in water, and what's going to happen to it? It won't
But
be around for more than hours, maybe not minutes. It's going to break down. Certainly not going to be around for 100 years. It's going
what
to break down.
what
Okay,
will break?
it
What
breaks
will
down,
what
especially in water.
what? Okay, but
Water
look,
is a solvent.
yeah, yeah, but look, look in the primordial oceans. I mean, also there were a lot of these puddles and a lot of volcanoes and volcanic puddles. I mean, it was a primordial soup. It was, I mean, and all these nucleic acids were running around. Look again, and you had millions of years for
Adding
this.
adding time doesn't help. That's the enemy of your process. Because if it takes 50,000 years in between example, you've got to in within 50,000 years develop a system that can utilize the sugar ribose molecule. Otherwise, it decays into something before the sun goes down or
Right, but
before the week is out. Right?
right, but we
It's
look.
gone. Start all over again. See,
Hold on.
that's the point.
Wait.
Adding time
Hold on.
doesn't make it more plausible. See,
Hold on. Hold on.
you
So
understand
look,
what I'm saying?
of course, of course. But in this primordial Earth, you had like a lot of ash in the atmosphere. You could have been having like lightnings all the time happening because the atmosphere was so conductive. And anyway, there was so much happening with the UV and asteroid impacting. I mean, so much was happening in volcanoes. There was so
It's more
much.
reason to believe it didn't happen.
There was so much.
M-
Look, there was
More,
so much. Hold on, 1 second. I'm look. I'm trying to imagine. You're asking great questions, and this is definitely not my field of expertise. So, but I can imagine a lot of interactions, and over this huge planet and millions of years of this happening around the clock, all over the planet, trillions and trillions and trillions of these interactions. All you need is for one of them to create a self-replicating molecule, which we don't know what it looks like. I certainly don't know, but I can
okay, so the
imagine.
self-replicating molecule would be
Mhm.
a ribose molecule with nucleotides attached to it at certain
Yeah,
lengths, long enough
right.
for
I
it to be self-replicating. Okay,
Okay.
right. So what I'm trying to help you understand is the
Mhm.
idea that the ribose is going to stick around long enough for the right nucleotides to bond to that sugar ribose molecule in the right order so that they produce something useful and is an enormous
Yes.
set of odds. Like I
Yes.
said, it's like believing you're going to point a rifle that can
I
shoot a
don't.
bullet fast
Yeah,
enough
you
to
said
pass
that.
through the solar system
Yeah, you
and
said that.
hit Jupiter every time.
Yeah, you
It's
said
not
that.
a believable scenario. And
You
that
said that.
doesn't even posit what's going to protect this new RNA from the
1 second.
environment and what else is going to, hold on,
Right. That's a
and
good
what else
question.
is going to use it. Wait,
Yes.
let me
Yeah.
finish. Wait, stop, please. What's going to use it once it forms instead of it just remain by itself in the environment being affected by chemistry, heat, temperature, salinity, pH level, and just disintegrate and fall apart long before anything evolves that can protect it and utilize it.
Okay.
See,
So
that's the problem. You're believing
wait,
in magic.
wait. What is magic? Define magic.
Well, I mean, the odds for what you're talking about
Oh,
being
oh.
a
So what
plausible
are, yeah,
is
what
so
are the, you keep,
enormously
yeah, you
poor.
keep using, that's fine. You keep using these words. So what are the odds? Can you give me the odds? Just, can you give me the number?
Well, I don't have a number, but this much we do know that biological molecules rapidly degenerate in nature. Take any molecule that's important in the cell, a DNA molecule, RNA molecule, a protein, a carbohydrate, and take it out of the cell and leave it, drop it somewhere so it lands on a leaf or it gets buried in the dirt and come back and see how long it is there. It won't be there next week. It's not going to be there next month or next year. It's gone. It
How does,
degenerates.
how does the
So
DNA, how
what
does
you're
the
talking about
DNA,
is that something that can you protect it from the environment and utilize it to make it useful and then replicate it has to evolve in such an enormous speed by other miraculous processes in order
wait,
to keep ribose
okay. So when you
the
say,
RNA around.
when you say
That
miraculous,
story is not something worth believing.
okay, when you say miraculous, I asked you for a number. You're just saying improbable. So I asked you for the probability. You say you don't know. As long as you don't know, so it is possible. You just don't know. So why do you dismiss it?
No, I'd say the probability of it is so enormously poor
What is
that
it?
it's
What
not
is it?
plausible.
What is the number?
I'm going to guess trillions to one.
And
I'll
how do
give
you
you an
know?
odd.
How do you know
I'll
whatever
give
the
you.
number is? Fine, fine. How do you know? You don't know. I don't know. You don't know. I don't know if we know the number because I've never seen a viable self-replicating molecule. So we don't know the odds. So why do you dismiss it? Why are you dismissing the theory a priori?
Yeah,
What is this again?
because it would require something to occur at an enormous, incredible pace in order
Yeah,
to defeat the
yeah,
natural processes which rapidly decay biological molecules in the natural environment.
I agree. But we don't know the odds. We don't know the actual numbers. So you don't know. So
You
why
think
you
it's high?
yes, you don't know if it's
It's
too
high
high.
probability.
Fine, I would agree, but maybe it's not high enough such that it did occur. We don't know. So I don't know why you're dismissing it as a theory.
Well, let me tell you why. One reason to dismiss it. The
Mhm.
secular camp has such a problem with it that some of their experts say it's not believable. One of the leading researchers into RNA world hypothesis, Gerald Joyce, says the most reasonable assumption is that life did not start with RNA. The transition to to an RNA world, like the origin of life in the genes in general, is fraught with uncertainty and is plagued by a lack of experimental data. Okay. Also, um, the University of Florida, Steve Benner, one of the world's foremost experts on origin of life, says this: "We have failed in any continuous way to provide a recipe that gets from the simple molecule to how we present how to, let me share it on the screen because I'm not the best at reading aloud. Okay,
But
I
this is
read
just
fine when I read by
but this
myself,
is
but I'm not real good at reading aloud.
but this is
Let me
just
hold
appeal
on.
to authority. You're just appealing to
No, no.
authority.
Well, it is your authority, though. Your authority, okay?
I I
Not mine.
I don't
It's
want to
yours.
appeal to authority. I don't appeal to authority. Why are you
Okay.
putting this
Now,
on
look,
me?
there's nothing wrong with me bringing the testimony
It's
of
an
an
appeal to
expert into the
authority.
talk.
It's a logical
I don't care if
fallacy.
you.
You're not
I
going to
don't care if
convince
you
me.
say that.
I'm not going to be
Dude,
convinced by an
calm
I'm
appeal
going
to
to
down.
an
show you.
authority.
Working out, dude.
Calm down. Yeah, calm down. So this is what Steve Brenner. Here's I'm on screen. Steve Benner. He is one of the world's most elite origin of life researchers. Okay, of the top excuse me, of the top 10 researchers of origin of life, he's in the top three. Okay? Right. He's one of the biggest. And he says this: we have failed in any continuous way to provide a recipe that gets from the simple molecules that we know were present in the early Earth to RNA. There is a discontinuous model that has many pieces, many of which have experimental support, but we've ended up we're up against these three or four paradoxes, and you and I have talked about it in the past. These paradoxes and the tendency of organic matter to devolve to give tar. If you can't avoid that, you can start to try to assemble things that are not tarry. But then you encounter the water problem, which is related to the fact that every interesting bond that you want to make is unstable thermodynamically with respect to water. If you can solve that problem, you can solve the problem of entropy. That any of the building blocks are going to be present in a low concentration. Therefore, to assemble a large number of those building blocks, you you get a gene like RNA, 100 nucleotides long, that fights entropy. And the fourth problem is that even that if you solve the entropy problem, you have a paradox of enzymes, which are maybe catalytically active, are more likely to be active in the sense that destroys RNA rather than creates RNA. So this is one of the world's foremost researchers on origin of life, and he's saying the problems with the idea are so incredibly huge that it's not plausible anymore for us to believe that RNA world hypothesis is true.
What are
What
the
you're
numbers?
arguing for
What is
RNA
the
hypothesis.
number? What is the number?
I don't have
What,
the numbers,
so we
but you
don't
can
know.
see
So
from
why are
his
you
statement,
dismissing the theory?
right? We don't. He didn't provide them either.
I don't
But
care. Why are
what
you
I'm trying to
dismissing the
point out, look,
theory?
don't talk over me constantly. You ask me questions, give me a
You're going
moment
on
to
a long
respond.
monologue.
Just stop.
Okay, we're
Just
done debating. We're done.
Oh, we're done
What's
debating. What a
happened is that I challenge your
surprise.
views with science. I
That's it.
challenge.
Bye bye. Have a great rest of your day. Wow. So he goes on monologues. When I say, what are the odds? He says, I don't know. Okay, if you don't know, why are you dismissing the theory? Why would you dismiss it? We don't know. So it is a viable theory. We just don't know. No, but he doesn't like it. And he doesn't want to have, he wants to appeal to authority. They said so. All right. Anyway, oh, that's right. Without a living man and woman, you cannot create. I don't know what you mean, James. Anyway, it was an interesting debate. I mean, the point is that it is a extremely unlikely, but we don't know the odds. Something like this could have happened. I'm not talking about the alternative that a god somehow came into existence. That's obviously much more implausible. So, it's not only implausible, it's also unscientific, since we cannot, soon as when I offered him the opportunity to test his god, he said we're not going to discuss god. So okay, so he didn't even present an alternative. So there's no alternative that he's offering. But the theory of evolution by natural selection, according to Darwin. So Darwin didn't discuss the first self-replicating molecule, but all we need is some self-replicating molecule to have come into being by sheer coincidence, which is, it sounds, we don't I don't know what it looks like, what how many atoms are, he didn't even know how many atoms are would be in such a molecule. But you know in the primordial oceans, this could have happened. Now maybe it didn't happen on earth, maybe it happened on some other world, and it got, through a process called panspermia, it got to earth. We honestly don't know, I don't know. But there is a natural explanation to how we got here. And the unnatural one, the, I would say, the unscientific one, obviously is unscientific, so it's completely uninteresting to me. I don't care for it. All right, everyone, thank you for the delightful comments. Mr. Swifter, who says Mr. Slave is too inept for this convo, and James, I didn't get your position. Oh, that's right. So James said, I just want to see an anti-creationist, that's me, I'm anti-creationist, to create a person. He wants to see me create a person. It's clear you have all the ingredients and all the knowledge, so get to making. I'm not sure what you mean. And then, oh, that's right, without a living man and woman, you cannot create. I don't know what you mean. I mean, oh, here he says something else. Come into being by coincidence, out of nothing, no chance, no odds. I mean, all I need is a self replicating molecule or a self replicating scenario of a bunch of molecules. And once we get that going, that's it. That's all I need. And to get that, that it's in itself sounds, I mean, I just don't know. We just don't know, because we never created, as far as I know, we never created a self-replicating molecule in laboratory conditions. Maybe I'm wrong. I think there was a Nobel prize for that. I don't know. Anyway, but this guy, it could have been a nice debate. Unfortunately, sometimes you debate people that just they don't really want to debate. He wants to I mean, obviously if he silenced me at the end, then obviously he doesn't want to debate. And he didn't have answers. I asked him, what is the problem? He kept saying it's magical, it's hands down impossible, like. But then I said, okay, what does it mean, magical or miraculous? He said, oh, it's just very improbable. Okay, how improbable? Slave, tell me what the mind is. Well, James, you're welcome. You have the link. You want me? I'll give you a link to join me in my Discord if you want to join me, and we can discuss it as much as you want. I don't know if this will work. Let me try and give this to you. Here. Here is a link to join me on Discord. So you're saying, Slave, tell me what the mind is. Look, we can discuss how a mind can evolve. I mean, my next question to him would have been, all right, let's assume a self-replicating molecule somehow, by some improbable process, came into being. All right. Now, from a self-replicating molecule to us, where's the issue? I mean, so so Dar- evolutionary Darwinism kicks in once we have a self-replicating process. From there to us, that doesn't seem there is no hurdle on the way. So why dismiss that? I mean, fine. Let's assume a self-replicating process initially from the started during the primordial Earth. So then Darwinism kicks in, and we show up a couple of billions of years later. Where's the issue? Okay. So about the mind, I'll gladly discuss how the mind evolved. I mean, the mind is just a bunch of neurons. That's all it is. And each neuron is a very simple cell, a relatively simple cell. So the question is, how did the first cell evolve? Well, that's not difficult. It evolved from a self replicating molecular process that came into being by sheer coincidence. James says, can you touch it or weigh it? Oh, the mind? I mean, you can touch the brain, you can weigh the brain, and the mind is just the act, that's the activity of a brain. Maybe I don't understand your question. Mind is not your brain. Then I don't know what is the mind. If you know, then I don't know exactly what you mean. I mean, the mind is what the brain, you could say, produces the activity. I mean, we can see it with the fMRI, functional MRI, magnetic resonance. We see that when people think of things, then the brain is activated. So the mind is a function of the brain. It's literally the function of the brain. That's my link. All right. And then James says, look, we can discuss. You can't even touch a mind. Laughing emoji. Well, if the mind, that's like saying you cannot touch a word. So I'm going to say the word high. Can you touch the word high? Oh, you can't? Oh, that's so funny. I don't know why that is funny. I don't know. Then James says, you aren't saying anything. I'm not. Darwin laughing emoji. You can't touch it or discuss it. Live mind isn't physical. You just lost. Oh, well, if I just lost, then, touche. So, brain is not the mind. Maybe you are out of your brain. Okay. You cannot see, touch, or weigh the mind. This is accepted amongst both sides. I mean, if you can define, I mean, you cannot touch, weigh words. So, what do you mean by mind? Is it, if it's a function of the brain, then yeah, you cannot. I mean, you can see it in fMRI. I mean, I don't know what your definition of mind is. So once you define it, we can measure it. I mean, you need to define something scientifically. Otherwise, I don't know how to relate to it. You are funny. Thank you, James. Asked you define it clearly, you cannot. If we cannot define a term clearly, then we cannot have a conversation about it. So I don't know what to tell you. Anyway, James, thank you very much for your input. I appreciate it. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe. I would appreciate it. There's 3 people with us right now, which is very nice. I really appreciate it, guys. And I'll see you next time. Bye bye. Oh, so James says, I can define it. Fine. Then define it, and we can have. I mean, I need you to define it scientifically, like anything else, so that we can relate to it, measure it. You cannot, and that is very evident. Do your research. Yeah, that's, if I cannot define a word, then the word doesn't come up in the discussion. I don't know what you want to do with that. I mean, you're claiming I cannot. When you say I cannot, what, you're forbidding me from defining it? I told you the definition of mind. Mind is the function of the brain. We can see it in fMRI. Like, it's it's however you want to define it. It's up to you. It's just when, when our brain, when a person is alive, they seem to have a mind. A little baby already seems to have, as they say, a mind of their own. So we can detect minds. So what's the issue? You can't measure it based on how it is defined. If I cannot measure it, then it's unscientific. That ends that discussion. On how it is defined, stop speaking presumptuously. No, it's not presumptuously. I'm just saying I cannot relate to unscientific definitions. A scientific definition means it's measurable. Whatever your definition is, it includes a way to measure it, whatever it is. So that's my prescription in order for me to have a conversation, a debate. It's however you want to define it. Anyway, James, look, you're welcome to join me. And I gave you the link. So anytime you want to join, maybe go look into how it is defined before speaking on it. I don't know what you mean. In a discussion, the two sides of a discussion need to agree on any word that they use in order to have a discussion. So I don't know what you mean by look it up. Go look into it. Go look into how it is defined. It's up to me and you to define a word. So I don't know what you mean by that. Anyway, I'm gonna go now. Thank you, everyone. See you later. Bye bye.